Welcome to the Write, Publish, Market podcast. If you're an entrepreneur considering writing a book to serve your business, you're in the right place. Or maybe you've already decided. That's even better. I'm your host, Jodi Brandon, book publishing partner for entrepreneurs and 20-year veteran of the book publishing industry. On the Write, Publish, Market podcast, in addition to learning from me, you'll meet entrepreneurs just like you and hear about their experiences as we explore all facets of writing, publishing, and marketing a book that will help your business grow in ways you might not even have dreamed of yet. Our guest today is Irena Miller. Irena has been an empathic intuitive since birth. Over the last 2 decades as a spiritual life guide, Irena has been guiding curious seekers and visionary empaths on how to take rewarding action on their gut instincts and how the moon can impact their daily routines, energy levels, and manifesting abilities. With her logical background as a decision science major and her intuitive side as an astrologer, meditation teacher, Yoga Alliance certified yoga teacher, certified crystal healer, medium, tarot reader, and energy healer, Irena offers a unique, down-to-earth perspective to learn the sacred arts that unlock the mysteries, hunches, and unexplainable. With her guidance, you can discover your limitless potential and step into the life you were born to live. I'm so excited to talk to her about her book today. So welcome, my friend Irena. I'm so happy to talk to you today.
Thank you so much for having me, Jodi. I have been so looking forward to this.
I have as well. So let's start with, I did read your formal intro, but I always like people to, give it to me in their own words too. So just like, the quick, who you are, who you serve, what you do, all the things.
My joy is helping empower people who really feel that they're empathic. They just are a little bit more sensitive than most. They take things personally, empowering them to know that, there's a whole world out there that we can't even see, touch, taste, or smell. And a way for them to protect their heart, a way for them to be in the world. And what I always say is I love to empower them by teaching them the sacred practices and techniques and rituals and give them the tools that enable them to step into the life they were born to live. Because I feel like a lot of people who consider themselves empathic or highly sensitive, they end up shying away from their dreams and the world because it becomes too overwhelming and too much. And I think it's so important for them to be supported because they have a really important message in their hearts that needs to come out. So
love that. Okay, so let's talk about your book journey, Irena. Let's start with just sort of like the basics of the book details, because I know your book it's bound, right?
Right.
It's not spiral. Is it spiral? It is spiral bound. Okay.
Spiral bound.
Okay. Spiral bound. And what was your path to publication? Was it self-publishing? Did you use a hybrid publisher?
Yep. Self-publishing.
Self-publishing. Okay. And then give us the 411 on the book for people who haven't seen it. Obviously, we'll include the link to the book. And I encourage you, I don't always encourage people to check the book out to physically see the book, but your book is beautiful. I've seen it in person and it's so beautiful. So I would love to just a little bit about how did you choose your printer? Because I know you use Lulu, which is, I don't want to say uncommon, but especially for your type of book, it's very common, but a lot of people just go the strict Amazon route. So can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, most definitely. So when I was putting this book together, it really came out of a necessity within the group of empaths I was working with, these wonderful, big-hearted, loving, intuitive people. And I was teaching them ways to pay attention to their intuition so they could really trust their gut hunches and instincts. And as a result, I had the digital copy and I would give out like monthly little pieces on just, a regular basis. Say, here's your little chunk for this month. Here are the tools, the practices, the routines you can do so that you can feel really free. And enough people came to me and they said, Irena, digital's great, but it would be so nice to have something in my hand and to have to print it all out every single month is exhausting. And I don't have a printer or, can you please do this? You're driving me nuts. So it was really their beautiful nudge and push that got me looking. And so I started talking with people and I did find a marketing agency that said, hey, listen, if you want to publish your book, this is a great way to do it. Check out these couple different places where you can print a book on your own. They had encouraged me to stay away from Amazon at this point, and they had their reasons, and I'm not 100% sure why, other than, let's just kind of basically get proof of market. Will people actually want to buy this? So I said, okay, sure, no problem. And we ended up going to Vervanti. And when I went there, what happened was I got very specific because since I work in the world of energy and I know how important, the aesthetics of things, they really truly matter. The way it feels in your hand, the way it looks. I drove this one particular marketing agency absolutely nuts because I was like, I really need to have the foil and I really need to have the hardcover. Like all right, we can get rid of this but I really need to have the double bind, not the spiral, spiral.
Yes.
Like the extra O-ring is what it's called, I guess, with Vervanti. And I got very specific and I'm like, the weight of the pages has to be, and the lady was going nuts. Because she said, Irena, this is so expensive and you're doing a small scale printing. And it's true. I sell it at cost for the most part right now, but it's had great reception. And as I continue to build volume, then the beauty is that it will eventually equal out. And it's really a doorway into the deeper conversation of these practices that I'm sharing. I'm not necessarily looking to become a millionaire off the book. If it happens, fabulous.
Right.
It's okay. The beauty of it is more important at this point.
I love that. Yeah, I said Lulu, I meant Vervante. I did know that because we talked about that. Yeah, they are fantastic for that type of book. They really are. And you know what? You're 100% right to stick to your gut on that, because especially for a book, I think on a topic like, the beauty of the spiritual practices that you talk about and live every day and work with your clients on, it only makes sense that the book, encapsulates some of that, physical attributes. So, but yes, I'm sure for her, from a book publishing perspective, she's thinking, oh, Irena, this is going to cost a fortune to print.
Yeah, most definitely. And I ordered prototypes of just like the paper cover or the polyvinyl covering and the plastic. And I mean, it's okay.
It's okay.
But, I really love, like when you get a gift from someone, and we were talking about, having, kids visit or interacting, and, you might have a niece or a nephew or a son or daughter that comes home from preschool or kindergarten. They're like, Mommy, I made you this. And the old days, it was the ashtrays. Like,
the ceramic ashtrays.
Your mom. Yep. Oh, great. But, and actually, I even have a little something on my desk from my son that he made me like 20 years ago in preschool, little blue dragon. But, we're like, oh, thanks. This is beautiful, honey. But the energy that it's made with, like that.
Yeah.
Have you ever read the book, like Water for Chocolate?
Yes.
Oh my God. So in that book, the whole premise is the love or the emotion that went into the food. Anyone who ate it felt it. That's what I love to do. That's what I love to share with people, because, we can hear a comment or somebody can say something to us, and it's not even so much the words, but it's the energy behind it. And so putting this book together, the energy and the love that I put into it, I wanted people to feel that, really.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, there is another author, and this is going to drive me nuts. And her name is Sarah. And why am I forgetting the last name? She wrote a book called, was it The Peach Tree? Oh, here, Peach Keeper, Sarah Addison Allen.
Oh, I'm not familiar with that one. No.
She wrote a couple different books. There's The Peach Keeper, and there was one other, Garden Spells. That book, if you like that book, like Water for Chocolate, Garden Spells.
Okay. All right. Well, check that out. I like that title. No, I like that title too.
Going off topic here.
No, that's okay. That's okay. Listen, we're going to wrap up with a book recommendation. So you can just say, please see earlier, Jodi, if you don't have something.
There you go.
So funny. That's so funny. Okay. That question sort of led into the origin of your book. So it was sort of just necessitated out of what your clients and people were asking, your community was asking for, right? It just made sense to put it all, rather than taking it to FedEx Kinko's every day to print out or whatever. Yeah. Okay. I love that. Let's talk a little bit, Irena, about the parts of the process that you liked and maybe didn't enjoy quite as much. People love So people like to commiserate here, I know, when they're listening to these episodes. So, because everybody has certain parts that they love and then certain parts that they're like, oh, I cannot wait to never do that again.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, the actual content of the book is pure joy for me. So like when I sit down, it's like getting into the zone like an athlete. I feel like I channel it, it comes and it's beautiful. And the thing is that I don't consider myself a natural writer. Writing is an incredible challenge for me. And so I find that I write in a different way, but when I can create what I call energy recipes, which is the idea of, okay, you know what? If we take a little bit of meditation and we take a little bit of breath work and, we add in like, a favorite crystal and, maybe like we'll pull a card and we bring this together in such a way that it empowers the person to trust their gut instinct. It lets them know, now is the time to take the next step, to go after your dream or wait a second, don't act now. You're going to cost yourself. But it really gives people their power back. That's a big piece of it to me. So while I'm putting it together and it does feel like it flows and it is pure joy, the challenging part that drives me really crazy is that I did this myself. I bootstrapped a lot of it. Mm-hmm. So I've always been in love with like the Adobe suite, and I realized, I have InDesign. Well, what does InDesign do? And so, it's like a toddler with a knife.
Right.
No, put it down, step back. That was a challenge. And when the lady who was helping me as kind of like an in-between, go-between between me and Vervanti, and she was like, you need to package everything up and get it all together. And I was like, what? How? I'm going to have to go like here and find all these. It was the most stressful moment because I didn't have anyone at that point to say, Irena, there's this one little button. And I ended up, part of what I always tell my students and clients is that we have friends in high places. We're not alone on this journey. So I was just like, okay, angels, help a gal out here. I don't know. People are getting mad at me like, Irena, what's so hard? Just send me the file. Yeah. I'm trying. It'll take me weeks to find like all these little links and pieces. And
yeah.
So I was sharing, I think I was leaving the lady a Voxer and somebody overheard me. I was actually on a group retreat, a writer's retreat of all things.
Okay.
And she overheard me, one of the gals, and she said, Irena, there's this one little button where you can export the package. And I was like, really? Oh my gosh. So having earth angels like that.
Yeah. Hey, business owner, if you've listened to this podcast for a while now, you know how important I think a writing routine is, preferably one that's in place before you begin that book writing, though it's never too late. So if you'd like some guidance in developing one, I've created the Ready, Set, Write Challenge for you to help you figure out where, when, and how you're the most productive writer. That's going to make your book writing so much more efficient. Check out jodibrandoneditorial.com/ready, set, write. Now back to the show. I think a lot of those pieces, because you just don't realize how many of those little pieces there are, right? And then all of a sudden it's one thing that holds up the entire stinking thing. And it's so frustrating. It's so frustrating.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And it's also one of those things, I think, where people who, like business owners, essentially, right? Who are business owners, that you don't want to be a professional author. So there's that fine line of like, okay, I'll learn how to do so I can do it, but right. I don't need to learn every single thing. I'm not doing this for my life. This is not my life's work.
No, exactly.
I want to get back to doing that. I just want to finish this. I want to wrap it up, send it on in and move on with my day. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. There's so much gatekeeping in the book publishing industry. It drives me absolutely bonkers. So I can certainly appreciate that. And InDesign is its own, its own beast, right?
That was not fun. And I think the technicality of it was the most challenging.
Definitely. I can see that.
Yeah. And having the right people in your corner, I think I realized that as well, is that important to have people who understand the full process. And I think me trying to bootstrap as I was, because it was a nudge from the community. And it was, like you said, like as a business owner that I was thinking, oh, I'm going to be a writer and this is my path. I didn't know what I was getting myself into.
Yeah.
So there were a lot of hard lessons learned along the way about like, heck, like, even just, trying to figure out if I want to get it on Amazon, what is that process like? And finding an ISBN number and all this. And anyway, so I really highly recommend having someone in your corner who understands the publishing process, because that was something that I didn't necessarily fully have.
Yeah. I think there's like that. People like me in the book publishing world always say we kind of like a little bit of that, like unknown though, because I think so many business owners wouldn't jump it. They would stop if they really realized at the very beginning just how many steps there were. They might be like, maybe I'll figure out a way to do it something else.
Yeah, that's true.
Just hold back just enough that people until they're really invested.
Love that. Yeah. All right, I didn't do it totally wrong then.
I love that. Did your book change at all, or the project? Like, how did it evolve from once you realized, okay, this is what I'm going to do, to the finished product? Was there anything that, at any point you were like, you know what, I'd love to have this in the book, but I think we're just going to have to drop it? Or was a lot of it about the actual physical attributes of the book for you that we talked about with like the foil and the cover and things like that?
Great question. There was a lot within it that I ended up shifting and changing mostly. As it got closer to kind of bringing it to publishing, there were always little things that I was like, oh my gosh, we should really have this. And even something, because I wasn't working necessarily with a traditional publisher. I was working with like a marketing agency who'd help people get this type of book out before. There were things like, well, shouldn't I have like an intro page or like a welcome, or shouldn't I have like a copyright page, and shouldn't I have this, and even like numbering the pages. I really wanted to. So this particular book, I call it a journal and a planner, and it's filled with sacred practices and techniques and rituals, and it's done in such a way that you can pick it up and put it down any way that you want throughout the year. And as a result, somebody said to me, oh, well, if it's like a planner or a journal, you don't need page numbers. And that was something where I unfortunately listened, and I'm really kicking myself, because those were little things that I had in that I took out. And there were things that I wanted to put in that, it's like last minute squeezing it in. Oh, here's one. Oh man, you talk about misery and getting so frustrated. Because every time you have to, you want to publish a prototype, and I couldn't necessarily publish the beautiful one because you have to order 25 minimum.
Yes.
What I would do is I'd get one of the intro prototypes, and I knew it going in, but in design, being a newbie and a neophyte at it, what ended up happening was, how they say like those aptitude skill tests, they're like, what page number does a book start with? And you're like, oh, well, 1. And you're like, no. So when the final PDF went into the publisher, all the pages were off. And I had the book laid out specifically. So 2 pages needed to be like, when you open the book, you had to have like page and page. And I thought, why didn't the person catch that? Because when I printed it off at Kinko's, like you say, FedEx Kinko's, it was fine.
Yeah.
But going to a publishing company like Vervanti, or printing company like Vervanti, it came out all lopsided, and I was heartbroken. Thank God I hadn't ordered the 25, because, like a grand investment. And I was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
I found a lot of things kept shifting and changing because the aesthetics of it are very important, even in the content. Yes. So I had to make a lot of shifts and changes for that.
Yeah. I think anytime there's a book like that, that's not just straight text, like just straight text, that stuff comes so much more into play. And there's so many more ways for things to go off the rails, honestly. You know what I mean? It just really, in the end, it all looks beautiful.
Oh, well,
so there's that, right?
Yes. Very happy with it.
Good. You should be. How are you using it in your business? Talk us through that a little bit.
Yeah. So I have something called the Moon Club. And so my book is really around how to harness the energy of the moon. And it's, again, an echo back to there's a whole world of energy all around us that we can't necessarily see, but it does affect us. Whether it's just, the colors that are bouncing off the wall or, the microwaves from, the microwave ovens or the like, or the pull of the moon. So in the Moon Club, what we do is we utilize these specific practices every month. I bring everybody through it. I give them the little techniques. They've got the book to go to reinforce it. There's a way to keep track of their progress. There's a way to collect data so that they can see exactly how the moon is affecting them because it affects everyone differently.
Right.
And so the joy for me is that they can see the pattern. And I was doing a baseball description. We did a monthly moon planning workshop this morning with the book. And the funniest thing is that I'm a sports ball gal. Like I really don't know that much about sports, but my husband loves baseball. And 3 hours of baseball will drive a person nuts. But once I learned how to score the game, I could see the pattern and I could get interested and involved in the game. So I do the same thing with the book. So in the Moon Club, we use it to help kind of find the patterns, and it makes these energies more accessible.
I love that. I love that. Maybe I'll try that with baseball because baseball games to me are long and boring. Okay. Love that. And now how about, can people use it on their own if they're not part of the Moon Club also? Like, so it's not dependent. Okay.
Yep. 100%. Yeah.
Okay. Fantastic.
With or without.
Got it. Okay.
Fun way.
So you had mentioned before making sure you have somebody sort of like in your corner that like knows the book world. What other advice would you give to a business owner who would, if they came up to you and said, Irena, I think I'm going to write a book for my business and use it in a similar way as you, what advice do you have for me?
Yeah, I would say definitely find someone who understands the process enough to help light a pathway, because otherwise it's so overwhelming. I know that my clients had to say it to me over and over and over and over, like, we want this. And I was like, okay. But it really was one particular client that I had who said, hey, Irena, I've got this person who could actually make it a reality. Would you be open to the introduction? So when those opportunities come your way, I would highly encourage it. And you can always take action too and reach out. It makes all the difference because otherwise it just gets put on the back burner.
Yeah. Well, yeah. A book is a someday project for a lot of people. Yeah. Nope. That's fantastic advice. This was a delight of a conversation. I know you already talked about a couple of books, but do you have any other reading recommendations to give to us? Or those are great if not.
Oh, thank you. I know. Well, I have Jupiter and Gemini, which means I love to learn. And I have a lot of books right behind me. I'm the kind of person who has like 10 books on my nightstand. I've got 100 books like in my library queue. I've got stuff on Audible. So I listen to things a lot. And so I was looking at that question and a couple of things popped up. The power of writing it down has been a really powerful book. Okay. Alison Fallon is the author's name. Mm-hmm. That was one that came up that I really love. I really love mysteries. So if you guys ever read like Ruth Ware or a lot of Allison Quinn stuff lately, or Kate Quinn. This is a fun one. If you want like a fun beach read, Happy Place, Emily Henry.
I just read that. It's so great. Yes.
And she lives close to me in the Cincinnati area.
Oh, does she? Okay. She's so funny. Like her writing, like it's so funny. I think that's one of my biggest takeaways from her books. Like I never expect that. And that like with those books that they call like lighter beach reads or whatever, which, okay, that's a whole other conversation. But yeah, I never expect it to be that funny. But yeah, she's a fantastic writer. Okay. Yeah. Oh, how lucky are you that she's nearby? Maybe she'll do like a local book signing or something.
Yeah. I got to keep my eyes open.
Yes, definitely. Yeah. Definitely.
Lots of fun stuff.
Yeah. Well, Irena, fantastic conversation. I so appreciate this. What is the best way for someone who's listening and wants to connect with you, check out your book, all of that? What's the best way for them to connect with you?
Yeah, to head over to my website, irenamiller.com, and you can see all the goodies there. And I hang out on YouTube quite a lot. I've got energy every week.
Okay. I didn't know you were on YouTube. Okay. All right. That's good to know. And we'll include all of those links and all of those great book recommendations in the show notes. This was such a fun conversation. Thank you so much, my friend, for your time. I appreciate you.
Thank you so much, Jodi. It was a joy to be here.
Thanks for listening to today's episode of the Write, Publish, Market podcast. I know just how busy your schedule is as a business owner, so I'm grateful you've taken some time out of yours to journey into the world of book publishing with me today. If you are looking for even more book writing, marketing, and publishing information and support, check out my mentorship membership, the Author Entrepreneurs Lab, where each month we take a deep dive into one element of the book world with education, a Q&A session with me, your book publishing expert, resources, co-writing times, and so much more. You can learn more at the link in the show notes. I hope to see you inside the lab.